It should be. Let me make sure it's good. Settings, sound, codec. That should be good. All right, Sonia, how about now? This camera. Microphone was changed. We should be working now. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, no sound on Rumble. Check. Sound on now. Okay, awesome. Fixed it. Okay. Anyway, I'm early. I'm sorry. Like I said, I suspected I had kidney stones. I went and had a ultrasound done the other day. Remember, I told you I had to get up early and go to the doctor. And yes, they confirmed it was kidney stones. So I went to the urologist this afternoon and going to have a CT done on Monday, but one's getting ready to drop. And so I thought, I cannot have a kidney stone kick in during the show. So I walked like really softly and everything. He's like, I'm going to give you some pain medicine. I have 6 stones. So they'll do the CT on Monday and then we'll decide on whether they have to go in and basket them out or whether they can just be blown up. I'm hoping for just blowing them up. But I wanted to get on here before that one dropped, and I just knew my luck would be that I'd get on at 7:30 and that stone would drop, and then I would be bound to pain medicine and nausea medicine and not be able to do a stream, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm on while I'm still living and still doing okay, and it's no big. I get stones like 3 times a year. This new doctor, is actually going to try to figure out why. So they're going to do the things that you do for people who get stones that I've not been able to get a doctor to do up until now, which is they do a 24-hour urine. So you collect for 24 hours and they check it to see what all's in there, what kind of stones you're growing, that sort of thing. And he's going to, based on that test, they'll decide if there's a medication that they could put me on that would keep me from making stones all the time. And they're just miserable. I was a little surprised that there were that many. He said it looked like one had dropped recently, and I was feeling pretty rough the other day, and I wondered if that's what it was. So here we are. I'm so over it. It just feels like it's always, I don't know. I feel like I hit my 40s and my health went to crap, and it's not like I'm not trying. So I'm not sure what the issue is. I think we're good on sound. I'm just checking your comments here. I hate how Evie Mux does the comments. Eric, what's happening in your neck of the woods, says Eric. Things here in Arizona desert are spectacular. I bet they are. The 10,000-foot mountain got 4 days of snow. It's absolutely beautiful. I want to see pictures. Send those to me. Okay, and then we got our sound is good. So we're all cleared up on comments. So anyway, I've got some stories for you tonight, and we'll do the stories. I'm trusting God that everything is going to be smooth for the show, and we're not going to have some horrible incident where I have to jump off here. So let's go with our first story. And Mr. Whitbroad will be coming in anytime, so don't mind him. He lives here too. Okay. Well, let's see if we can make that a little better here. Okay. No. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to be discombobulated, but you know how it is. Where is the window that has my... Okay. Really? There it is. Okay. Are COVID-19 vaccine babies toddling and babbling normally? And this is from Dr. Peter McCullough. The rush to mass vaccinate the world with... Oh, I lost an earring. Mass vaccinate the world with genetic vaccines launched in 2021 with a reckless hubris that will go down in history. It most certainly will. With no assurances on safety or efficacy, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology broke the time-honored conservative stance on novel products in pregnant women and broadly endorsed the shots that skipped all preclinical and clinical testing during gestation. It's just ridiculous what they've done. If we can get that earring to stay in. There we go. So they were advising this for pregnant women, even though pregnant women were excluded from the trials. Now, years later, scientists are filling in the knowledge gaps. And in the case of a rat study by Erdogan et al., with results that are making many in the clinical community uncomfortable. In short, they found that pregnant rats injected with the Pfizer BNT162b2, which is the Pfizer vaccine, had male progeny in particular that tended to have concordant neurodegenerative changes with impaired behaviors on standardized testing. So meaning it messed with their brains. In conclusion, our study presents evidence that the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine impacts the WNT pathway, one of the most crucial morphogens in development and during the maturation of the central nervous system. So that pathway is very active when the baby's developing. And brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, levels in rats, with particularly pronounced effects observed in male rats. These male-specific outcomes, including autism-like behaviors, reduced neuronal counts, neurons are what transfer information in the brain, or carry information, and impaired motor performance, so what they can do physically, emphasize the potential neurodevelopmental implications of the vaccine, aligning with existing literature on the roles of the WNT and BDNF signaling pathways, causing neuronal disorders. So there's just a brief on something that I'm concerned about, especially for our little boys who are just at so much higher risk for autism anyway, just crazy, crazy, crazy. But, let's just go ahead and recommend something to pregnant women that's not been tested on pregnant women. And it's kind of like the drug for flu. What is the drug for flu? It'll come to me. Anyway, that drug is frequently given to Tamiflu. That drug is frequently given to pregnant women. If you go in and you look, I think it's a pregnancy category C drug, which means it caused developmental issues in the pups of animals that it was given to. It wasn't tested on women, but you'll find this drug given to women left and right who are pregnant, and it just goes all over me. They'll tell you to avoid vitamin C while you're pregnant, but totally okay to take Tamiflu, which we know causes birth defects in animal pups and has not been tested on pregnant women. So, you are the experiment, sadly. And we've got another one I wanted to talk to you about on that. Hold on, let me find that. This one's on the FDA and what they're up to, those suck egg dogs. I don't know what we pay this agency for. I really don't. What is with this? I knew I shouldn't have put things in a different window. Okay. Share screen. Come on. Tech issues. Okay. Make sure you guys can see that. Here we go. FDA's new rule allows for medical research without informed consent. And if you guys have been with me a while, you'll know that I was talking about this last winter, actually. There was a move. So Dr. Fauci's wife works in medical ethics, I think with the CDC or FDA or something like that. And she and Dr. Mandeep Mehra, so if you don't remember Mandeep Mehra, he was part of that fake Surgisphere study. So Mandeep Mehra and she are both on this ethics committee. Dr. Mandeep Mehra, who was part of a fake hydroxychloroquine study that didn't even exist. All of it was made up, and the article had to be retracted. But they came up with this idea that if you're going to get an organ transplant, you should just have to sign a general consent, so that if that person that you're getting an organ from has HIV or AIDS or hepatitis or some other communicable disease, that they would not be required to inform you specifically of that disease. You would just get a general warning that if you get an organ transplant, you could catch something from the donor organ. But to me, if you know for a fact that that donor organ is in a body that has hepatitis or some other communicable disease, you are obligated to tell that patient, because then they run the risk of getting it and having to deal with that new disease for the rest of their lives. And so they were going back and forth on slimming down that informed consent. Well, now we have the FDA's new rule allowing for medical research without informed consent. And they act like this is just going to be retrospective research. So, this way we don't have to get your permission to look at your medical records. Say they're going to do a retrospective study. So what that is when they pull they go into a medical database, say your doctor's office, okay? And they pull out a bunch of ICD-10 codes, so diagnosis codes, and they look for different things based on what they're studying. So maybe they're looking for, how many people who are prescribed statins have a heart attack. Well, typically they need your permission to be able to delve into your medical records, but now they've waived that for you. So it's none of your dang business if they're going through your medical records. In an effort to encourage the discovery of more treatment and diagnostic options in the medical field, the FDA has finalized a rule allowing certain clinical trials to operate without obtaining informed consent from participants. So you could be participating in a clinical trial and have no idea. The rule was issued in late December 2023 and went into effect January 22nd. We anticipate this new rule will enable minimal risk research. Who decides minimal risk? If you're a research participant, you decide. You decide if that risk is minimal or not. Well, now they're saying you don't get to decide, they'll decide for you. Minimal risk research would not be practicable to conduct otherwise. Dr. Robert M. Califf, serving Commissioner of Food and Drug Administration, wrote on the blog, Catching Up with Califf. This could include studies comparing the effectiveness of approved products to determine which options work best for certain patients. The FDA initially proposed the rule in November of 2018, permitting an institutional review board to waive the requirement for informed consent under certain conditions. The agency received fewer than 50 comment letters on the proposed rule from academia, institutional review boards, public advocacy groups, blah, blah, blah. Most of the comments favored the agency's efforts supporting the rule because it reduces administrative burdens on both IRBs and researchers. So they don't, this is good for them because it's less work for them. Who cares what it is for you, right? While encouraging valuable research on important health issues affecting the public without putting trial participants at risk. Not all comments were supportive, with some warning that a waiver of consent may be necessary and ethically justifiable for certain types of clinical investigations that are critical for medical advancement, patient care, and safety. Two commenters believe the rule simply goes against the spirit of protecting humans and medicine, and it does. However, many researchers noted in their support that certain minimal risk trials are nearly impossible to conduct if consent is required. Well, not impossible, just more work. And considering the money that Big Pharma puts into all of this, I don't see why the more work is a problem. By being able to dig into such information, these researchers and the FDA argue they may be able to make medical advancements without sacrificing patient safety or rights. Much of the pushback against the new rule suggested the changes would allow IRBs to compromise on standards more and more, and that's it. It's this slippery slope. It's like them talking about making vaccines that will shed so that you can vaccinate people who aren't vaccinated by the shedding of people who are vaccinated. That's against my rights. I have a right to not be shed on with your vaccine that I don't want. Adding that the term minimal risk is too vague and could be misinterpreted or abused, do you think? The result would be decreased public trust in research and healthcare providers. No third parties, including IRBs, should be allowed to make decisions for study subjects as to what constitutes minimal risk, one commenter said. Minimal risk, as defined by the FDA, means the likelihood of experiencing harm or discomfort is not greater for a subject during a study than for them during everyday tasks. In other words, there's minimal risk in nearly every activity, from walking to putting away the dishes to picking up the kids from school. The study's risk cannot exceed the risk one experiences daily. I'm just not comfortable with letting the FDA and IRBs decide that because they've been so dishonest in the past. And so that's where I stand on that. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't like it. I feel like they infringe more and more. Hi, Lady Checks. I feel like they infringe more and more on our rights, and are more. It's more. It's like they think they have a right to your data. I'm like, you don't have a right to mine my data at my doctor's office just because that doesn't pose any additional risk to me than me walking outside. The fact is that IRB is Institutional Review Board. It's who approves clinical trials and studies. And so my thinking on this is how often, like my doctor's office, Catholic Healthcare Initiatives, had a huge hack last year that completely shut them down. It was the biggest hack of a medical system in U.S. history. And for like 2 months, you couldn't get your prescriptions called in. You couldn't go to the doctor. They couldn't access your charts. They had to shut everything down, dump the new system, start completely over, and hand put everything back in. Well, what's to say that's not going to happen with a clinical trial, that they're not going to somehow get hacked and my information is going to get out there? I have a right with my doctor. I give permission for them to be mucking around in my medical records, but I do not give permission for these clinical trials to be doing that. And I just don't trust what they'll do with that data. And ultimately, it's my data. It should be my choice. It's my medical record. I don't like it. I don't like it. That's just me. All right, let me see what else I've got for us here. Skip that one for now. There's some silly stuff. Oh, I want to talk about cholesterol. Let's do that next. Okay. So I've been talking about statins for a while and my concern about statins, how we've seen such an increase in dementia since statins have been so widely prescribed. And now the data is finally coming out. Do I think clinical trials are safe? Well, it depends on how the clinical trial is being done, what the design is. So like my dad was in this clinical trial for Wegovy or Ozempic, and it was for people who were diabetic to see if the drug could induce weight loss. Well, there should be certain standards of who you're going to eliminate, who you're not going to put in this clinical trial because of certain reasons, right? So, like if you were doing a hydroxychloroquine study, you wouldn't put people with a prolonged cardiac QR interval in there because that drug can cause that to widen even more. So there are certain people you would eliminate right off the top. Well, this clinical trial that my dad was in, Steve, this clinical trees in boxes, the clinical trial that my dad was in did not think it important to exclude a man who's, yes, diabetic, not overweight, because he had a gastric bypass surgery. Now, that is a person who doesn't need to lose weight. He should have been eliminated from the trial. He shouldn't have been allowed to participate. But they let him in anyway and then watched his weight go down to 135, where he's totally emaciated. And they're calling that a win because it's weight loss, even though the weight loss has been so severe that it is critically damaging his health. So this is my concern when you look at clinical trials. You don't get to know all the data. You don't get to know whether you're in the control group, the drug group, or the placebo group. You have no idea. So you don't know if you're getting treatment or not. You have no idea if the doses they have chosen are safe, like we saw with the recovery trial and the solidarity trial. Those trials used insanely high doses of hydroxychloroquine that likely led to the deaths of patients. So it's hard to know if a clinical trial is safe because as a participant in a clinical trial, your knowledge of what's going on is very limited. I don't trust drug companies. We know that they fudge clinical trials. We're going to talk about some of that. Harvard is being required to pull a bunch of their clinical trials where they had put in fraudulent information. So would I participate in a clinical trial? Absolutely not. I mean, maybe if I were dying of some rare cancer, there was no treatment for, and there was a clinical trial drug, maybe then. But at that point, I'm going to die anyway. So how much more harm can the clinical trial do if I'm already going to die? Then I might do it. That would be the only reason. I just don't trust them. I think they're unethical. We know drug companies are unethical. They're just trying to get a drug approved. So, I mean, we saw what they did with the COVID vaccines. In the COVID trials, they unblinded the placebo group and then gave them all the vaccines. So now we have no clinical data that we can really look at from that because there's no control group. I mean, that should just be flat out illegal, especially with a new technology like mRNA. So I would not participate in a clinical trial. That's just my personal choice. But I'm going to show you this one's from Epoch Health. Hopefully it lets us look at it. I should not have put that in a different window. There it is. Okay. I just wanted to make sure you could see it. High good cholesterol linked to dementia risk. So, they want your good cholesterol high. And let me tell you something. So this cholesterol, this data that we've been using to put people on statins has been flawed from the beginning. The information was cherry-picked. Drug companies have pushed to lower and lower and lower the acceptable ranges of cholesterol. And cholesterol drugs are their biggest money makers, right? With very little scientific data to show that they do what they say they do. So now we're seeing that high good cholesterol, which is what they're pushing with these drugs, is linked to increased dementia risks. And I'm guessing because the statins that you're using are pulling the cholesterol, the waxy coating off the neurons in the brain, and then the signals can't jump and forth, and then you have dementia. For years, high levels of good cholesterol have been touted as heart healthy and linked to lower disease risk. But new research suggests that you can have too much of a good thing when it comes to health. A new study finds that very high levels of high density lipoproteins, HDL cholesterol, may be associated with an increased risk of cognitive decline and dementia. As counterintuitive as it may seem, older people with the highest amounts of this type of cholesterol were significantly more likely to develop dementia than those with more moderate levels. While more research is needed, the results caution against the assumption that simply raising HDL as much as possible is always better and indicate that maintaining cholesterol balance may be key for healthy aging. And we know this of most things. Balance is key. Why we need cholesterol. And I know you guys have had this drilled into your heads. I mean, if you're my age, for 30 years. Cholesterol is a fat-like substance essential for maintaining cellular health, producing hormones, and metabolizing vitamin D to boost immunity. Although we consume cholesterol through our diet, our bodies produce most of what we need. Specifically, the liver and intestines create about 80% of the cholesterol required for proper bodily function. Required for proper bodily function. Cholesterol comes in two main forms: LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, which it's not bad, that can lead to dangerous buildup in arteries; HDL, which is considered good cholesterol, that carries excess cholesterol to the liver for removal from the body. HDL may help reduce heart disease risk. That's speculative. While high HDL is commonly viewed as universally positive, recent studies suggest that excess amounts of even this beneficial substance can potentially jeopardize health. Very high good cholesterol is linked to a 42% dementia risk. 42%. New research published in The Lancet Western Pacific analyzed data from 18,668 people over 65 who initially participated in the Aspirin in Reducing Events in the Elderly, ASPRE trial. The results linked very high cholesterol levels to a 42% increased dementia risk in adults over 75. The optimal level for this age group is 60 to 80 milligrams per deciliter. The study also found participants with HDL levels above 80 had a 27% higher dementia risk overall. But it's important to note that HDL levels this high are generally due to genetic reasons and not a worry for most people. While we know HDL cholesterol is important for cardiovascular health, this study suggests that we need to further research to understand the role of very high HDL cholesterol as far as brain health goes. Research published in October 2023 in Neurology further indicates that balancing HDL cholesterol levels is critical for health. The study tracked over 184,000 California residents 55 and older using health surveys from 2002 to 2007. I will tell you, health surveys are the lowest level of scientific data. Then followed up on them for an average of 9 more years. During this period, around 25,000 participants were diagnosed with dementia. Surprisingly, out of 184,000, surprisingly, those with the highest LDL levels, at least 65, showed a 15% higher dementia rate compared to those in the group with an average HDL level of 53. Those with the lowest levels saw just a 7% increase versus the middle group. The elevation in dementia risk with both high and low levels of HDL cholesterol was unexpected, but these increases are small and their clinical significance is uncertain. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up because I wanted to share something else with you that came out. Make sure you guys don't have comments. Doesn't look like it. Let me do the next one. Share screen. Here we go. All right. The jig is, and this is by our friend Tracy Beans. I love Tracy Beans. If you guys don't watch her show, she's on Uncover DC on Rumble. The jig is up. Toxic Oreos lowered LDL cholesterol more than statins. And I think this statin data is just going to keep piling on. This was by Tracy Beans and Michelle Edwards. Pfizer's cholesterol-lowering statin drug Lipitor is one of the most profitable medications of all time. Globally, the lucrative statin market is projected to reach $32 billion by 2032. Yet for years, there have been published studies reporting that statin drugs lead to profound memory loss and diabetes. Interesting, huh? I don't know a whole lot of people who are on statin drugs who are not also diabetic and overall are entirely worthless. As such, the studies have supplied the basis for reevaluating the guidelines for prescribing statins and theories on cholesterol in general. After all, cholesterol is essential to the human body. If you had none, you would be dead. That is 100% true. The studies have likewise questioned why more focus isn't put on maintaining good heart health through beneficial lifestyle habits instead of harmful statin medications. However, given the massive profits enjoyed by big pharma and physicians alike, questions are quelled and statin prescriptions continue to increase. But alas, firmly revealing the absurdity of the scheme to keep Americans unhealthy on statins, a recent study published on January 22nd has demonstrated that Nabisco's toxic Oreo cookies are 2 times more effective at lowering LDL cholesterol, the one they say is bad, than high-intensity statin drugs. Holy smokes, what? The eye-opening study on one of the most prescribed drugs in history and one of the nation's most addictive junk foods, I can attest to that, was conducted by Harvard Medical School scholar Nicholas G. Norwitz, PhD, who is ketogenic and has high LDL, which is supposedly the bad cholesterol. For context, many argue that LDL cholesterol is merely a surrogate marker, and prominent cardiologists are increasingly questioning its causative role in the development of heart disease. With that in mind, to prove the ineffectiveness of statins and the overhyped agenda-serving proclamation that LDL is bad, Norwitz and senior author and expert lipidologist William Cromwell, MD, conducted the dramatic demonstration, hoping it would spark scientific debate. After all, the conversation is critical since, like the gene-damaging COVID shots, the pharmaceutical industry funded most of the studies supporting statins, and the raw data of the clinical trials has been kept secret, leading to speculation of doctored data. Clinical trials, here we go again. So what's behind the confusion on cholesterol? For starters, cholesterol is not the potent enemy of health and longevity it's smeared to be. In fact, it's virtually impossible to explain how vital cholesterol is to the human body. In 2010, outlining the crucial role cholesterol plays in life, Dr. Zoe Harcombe, PhD, summarized its importance, explaining that every cell in the body is covered by a membrane, a protective barrier, consisting mainly of cholesterol, fat, and protein. Membranes are porous, not solid walls, letting nutrients and hormones in while keeping waste and toxins out. If cholesterol were removed from cell membranes, they would literally explode from their internal water pressure. Cholesterol is vital for hormone production, digestion, bones, and all the roles performed by vitamin D. Together with sun exposure, cholesterol is required to produce vitamin D. Wonder why all these people on statins have such low vitamin D levels. The brain, the central nervous system, and memory functions. Harcombe explained that one of the primary reasons humans spend nearly a third of their lives sleeping is to give the body time to produce cholesterol, repair cells, and perform other essential maintenance. But cholesterol's significance to living goes even further. Most are familiar with the term essential fatty acids or essential amino acids. The term essential is used when speaking of nutrition in this way because it is essential to human health, yet the body cannot make it. Significantly, though, as pointed out by Harcombe, the body makes cholesterol. Remarking on that fact alone, she shared, "That says to me that cholesterol is even more vital than essential fatty acids or essential amino acids, even though these two are life critical, and therefore the design of the human body is such that it was not left to chance that we needed to get cholesterol from food. Of the 500 or so roles that the liver has, one is to produce cholesterol. It is too vital to be left to chance. So your body makes it because it's so vital. The chemical formula for cholesterol is C27H460. There's no good version or bad version. HDL and LDL are not even cholesterol, let alone good cholesterol or bad cholesterol. They are lipoproteins, fat proteins. They carry cholesterol, triglycerides, phospholipids, and protein, all things you need. Do you think that taxis are people, or do you think they are carriers of people and luggage, pets, and other things? Having cholesterol as this middleman has allowed an entire pharmaceutical industry and stupid cookbooks to come up with ways of lowering cholesterol. The most lucrative of these has clearly been statin drugs designed to stop the body producing the cholesterol that it is designed to produce. Hi, babe.
Hi, baby.
Harcombe's remarks makes perfect sense. Nonetheless, despite knowing cholesterol's vital role in being alive, the belief that LDL cholesterol causes atherosclerosis, followed by coronary heart disease, is a fundamental principle of modern medicine, solely based on biased studies. Indeed, for the last 40 years, the mainstream medical establishment has asserted that elevated serum cholesterol levels are a direct instigator of coronary heart disease and that statins are essential to controlling cholesterol levels. They make this declaration as if there were no other choices or healthier alternatives. Indeed, by using extensive promotional campaigns producing billions in profits, the medical industrial complex has convinced millions worldwide that the key to avoiding heart disease is reducing cholesterol levels by using statin drugs and eating a diet low in saturated fat, essentially stoking fear and nudging its trusting minions to avoid eating fats and meat and instead eat chemical-laden ultra-processed carbs. Post-COVID, with eyes wide open, a sinister big pharma strategy is illuminated. Proving the scheme, a 2005 publication in the Journal of American Physicians and Surgeons titled LDL Cholesterol, Bad Cholesterol or Bad Science, noted, while the war on cholesterol has proved to be extremely lucrative for the food and drug industries, it has delivered no benefit to public health. Coronary heart disease is still the leading cause of death in Western countries. If cholesterol reduction were effective in preventing coronary heart disease, then it would surely lower both fatal and non-fatal CHD. This hasn't happened. Modern medicine has made significant advances in extending the lives of those who have already had heart attacks, but it has failed to help people avoid heart disease in the first place. In addition, the relentless drive to steer people to low-fat, high-carbohydrate diets has been accompanied by a marked increase in the prevalence of obesity and diabetes. This increase has been so large that some predict the steady rise in life expectancy enjoyed by Americans during the last century may soon come to an end, and it already has. Incredibly, despite record use of statin drugs, these drugs, nearly 2 decades after noting that CHD was the number one cause of death in 2005, the deep state peddler, the unscrupulous World Health Organization, reported in December of 2020 that heart disease has remained the leading cause of death at the global level for the last 20 years, despite all the statins. But that's not all. The WHO added that heart disease is killing more people than ever before, with the number of deaths from heart disease increasing from 2 million since 2000 to nearly 9 million in 2019, representing 16% of total deaths from all causes. And with the heart issues tied to the deadly mRNA COVID-19 jabs, those figures are sure to increase. So where does this leave us? We can thank Minnesota physiologist Ansel Keys, this is the guy, and his questionable hand-picked study back in 1958 to 1983 for declaring that fat composition of the diet and serum cholesterol contribute to heart disease. The U.S. Public Health Service funded his 7-country study following President Dwight D. Eisenhower's heart attack. At the time, heart disease was the leading cause of death in the United States, still is. Speaking of the profound effect Keyes had on inaccurately portraying cholesterol, journalist Nina, whatever that last name is, remarked that in the wake of Keyes' legacy, we have seen increases in cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Noting Keyes' study is filled with errors, she rightly stated, we should not attempt to set dietary recommendations in stone when the research behind those recommendations are built on sand. Harcum agrees, wondering, how on earth have we ever got away with telling people cholesterol causes heart disease? She pointed out that reputable research reveals that high cholesterol is associated with lower heart disease and vice versa. For all the available data in the world, high cholesterol is not even associated with high heart disease, let alone does not cause it, she stated, adding, why are we lowering cholesterol when lower cholesterol is associated with more deaths from heart disease and all causes for men and women? The magnitude of the disinformation around cholesterol and statins is mind-boggling. Was it intentional? Thanks to COVID, it is safe to assume the attack on cholesterol and subsequent remodeling of global dietary advice 40 years ago undoubtedly had a sinister keep people sick motive, like a detective on the scent of a killer. Harcum commented, our global dietary advice was changed in 1977 in the US and 1983 in the UK as a result of a biased study of 7 hand-picked countries. Had the data been available for the 192 countries we can analyze now, or had Keyes even considered all the data that was available to him at the time, for France, etc., our conclusions may have been that we need to protect cholesterol levels in the body. We may have realized that the last thing we should be trying to do is lowering cholesterol unless we're trying to lower life expectancy. Intentionally lowering life expectancy, where have we heard that before? The notion of such a deliberate act against humanity reinforces the necessity of being in control of one's health. Right? We've been taught, this has been the theme of the whole show. Indeed, One Health. Norwitz, the mastermind behind the brilliant Oreo versus statin study, conveyed that carbohydrate-restricted diets hold promise for maintaining excellent health. Indeed, a carbohydrate-restricted diet has been shown to be an effective treatment for weight loss, type 2 diabetes, and other chronic health conditions. You know, the diet and lifestyle-related diseases American taxpayers have spent billions to cure with no success. Go figure. However, one pending issue with the CRD approach is that this dietary strategy, according to Big Pharma and its cohorts, may cause elevated LDL cholesterol. But wait, high LDL might not be a bad thing. So where does all this intriguing information leave Big Pharma's statins and the profitable junk food industrial complex tasked with keeping us sick? Given that poisonous Oreo cookies lowered LDL more than Big Pharma's windfall statin drugs, we hope that Norwitz's study clarifies cholesterol's vital role in the human body once and for all, while further exposing the corruption behind Big Pharma and the healthcare system. That was a lot, wasn't it? Angel says, Fat Granny and myself send our respects, Penny. Cheers and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Angel and Fat Granny. I'm glad you're here. Did you say toxic Oreos? I did. You know they're toxic. They're delicious. The double stuffed ones are freaking addictive. I can't have them in my house. I'm weak. Okay, next story. I've been getting a lot of questions on how to get ivermectin, which is interesting because I hadn't expected to get a lot of questions about that. So I'm going to share this story real quick. Oh, wait, there was a question. I wanted to see that. A new baby deer born. Amazing. Oh, thank you, Miramaran. No more links in the chat, though. I will volunteer to test the Oreos for science. Lady Jax, thank you for taking a bullet for the rest of us. Do not mind me. Hello. Beware the power of big Oreo. Yeah, instead of big dick energy, it's big Oreo energy. Um, and I can't argue with that. All right, where'd it go? Here we go. Critical medications every American can have on hand, including ivermectin, and how to get them. Ask the well-prepared patriot what to stock up on in case of an emergency: food, water, ammo, precious metals. But even the most prepared Americans are sorely lacking the critical medications that can protect them from anthrax, tick bites, COVID, and bioweapons. And it's not because of a lack of knowledge. If you want a simple antibiotic, then you better be prepared to jump through hoops to prove why you need it, thanks to the influence of big pharma. Actually, that's poorly stated. Doctors have gotten more selective about who they give and what they give antibiotics for because we have so much antibiotic resistance. Now, does that mean you should not be prepared? No, it doesn't. As champions of medical freedom, the wellness company has made it easy for Americans to get the critical medications they need. So through the wellness company, they have an emergency kit, and I'm not promoting this. I'm just telling you guys. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask how they can get ivermectin, and this is one of the ways you can get it. So they have ivermectin in this kit, 18 milligrams, has 7 capsules. It has amoxicillin, 28 capsules, azithromycin, 12 tablets, doxycycline, 60 capsules. These are amoxicillin, azithromycin, doxycycline, all antibacterial drugs, antibiotics. Flagyl is an antifungal. Bactrim is an antibiotic. Diflucan is an antifungal. And ondansetron, which is Zofran, is for nausea. Anyway, all of that comes in the kit. You can just go to the wellness company. Let me make sure. Let me see if they've got the link. I think it's just the wellnesscompany.com. So if you're looking to get some antibiotics to have on hand in case we have an SHTF, shit hit the fan moment, that's one way to get them. You might also talk to your doctor and say, hey, I want to plan ahead in case there's an emergency. I don't know how many doctors would go along with that, but that's also another option. And then you could just search ivermectin. I think like the frontline doctors still have where you can get it. So for folks who've been reaching out to me wanting to know if I can get it for them, I cannot. All right, let me see what else we got here. We've got some E. Jean Carroll stuff. Let's start with her. All right, let me get this. No, pause. All right, hold on. You know what? Let's do this one first. Give me a second here. Not that one. Let's do this one first. Okay. Only 7 capsules of ivermectin. Yeah, you don't need very much ivermectin. I think you only take it for 3 or 4 days. So that might be enough for 2 rounds. I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me come back here. Yeah, I would rather have 30 to have on hand for sure. Hi, Penny, former nurse here, F51. I don't know what that means. My PCP says I am a walking stroke to scare me into statins that cause me horrible joint pain. If you are going to take statins, at least take CoQ10 with it because it diminishes CoQ10, which causes all kinds of other problems like joint pain. I work out a lot and eat very clean. He says doesn't matter. Talk to a cardiologist, search cardiologists in your area. I don't know what your numbers are. I'm not going to advise anybody on anything that might potentially lead to a heart attack. But my doctor has tried to put me on statins many times. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'll add fiber to my diet. I'll add fish oil, but I am not taking statins. My dad's on statins. He's had 3 heart attacks. I'm not sure what good they're doing him. My mom is on statins. Her cholesterol is still through the roof. I think it's a joke. But don't take medical advice from me. The I is missing in health in your website link. In what? Like my website? Like Witthealth coaching? Casey? Hi, Casey. I haven't seen you in forever, sweetheart. Casey and I went to high school together. Denise says she won't do it either. Okay, so the next one is on E. Jean Carroll. L. The L is missing. Are you talking about my personal website, Witthealth Coaching? Or are you talking about the wellness one? On this video on Facebook. Oh, I don't know. I'll have to look at that after. In case you missed it, New York Magazine's guessing game, E. Jean Carroll's jacket dress, comes into question. Okay, so if you didn't see this, in the New Yorker, I guess this is what this is. This is what I was wearing 23 years ago when Donald Trump attacked me in Bergdorf Goodman dressing room. E. Jean Carroll posed for the cover of the New York Magazine in June of 2019. She was wearing what she claimed was the Donna Karan jacket dress she had worn when Donald Trump allegedly attacked her in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room in 1994. She was later forced to change her story after New York Magazine pointed out that the dress she said she was wearing had not been sold in 1994, among all of the other BS that goes along with E. Jean Carroll. Carroll later claimed the alleged attack occurred in 1995 or 96. I just don't know what year. I mean, how many of you have been raped and don't remember what year it happened? I was raped in college. I could tell you exactly what year. I can't tell you the day. I could tell you the season, the semester, the month. But she's still not clear on the date it took place. I mean, if you can't pin it down to a year, well, in the court decision already said that he did not rape her, that they did not feel that that claim was honest, even though the judge is saying that that's what happened. Carroll said she met Trump on the street and they decided to go buy lingerie at the high-end New York City department store before the attack. The entire story lacks credibility. New York Magazine said on its cover the jacket dress she was wearing that day was hung in her closet ever since. She wore it again for the first time for her portrait with New York. Give me a freaking break. And they couldn't have fact-checked that before putting that out? E. Jean Carroll wrote her bizarre story in New York Magazine in June of 2019. Carroll said she kept the dress in her closet after the alleged assault. She says she never wore it again and that I have never had sex with anybody ever again. So since 1994 or maybe 1995, or I don't know, maybe it was 1996, when I wore that Donna Karan jacket that wasn't made in 1994 when I was raped by President Trump, but I'm not sure what year it was. But I know I've not had sex since either 1994 or maybe 1990, or could have been 1990s. Give me a break. Are you kidding me with this? But there was one big problem with her story. The Donna Karan jacket dress was not even made or sold in 94. The story is a complete hoax. Trump attorney Boris Epshteyn spoke outside the courtroom in New York where the E. Jean Carroll case is taking place in front of Clinton-appointed Judge Lewis Kaplan's kangaroo court. Boris told reporters outside the courthouse that the dress E. Jean Carroll said she was wearing in 1995 or 1996 when Donald Trump allegedly assaulted her was not made in 1994 as she originally stated. It's not clear when this dress was first available. She said, "This is the dress I wore in 1994. They went back, they checked, the dress wasn't even made. And that's why the dates moved around. This is the 80s. Is it the 90s? Is it the 2000s? President Trump has consistently stated that he was falsely accused, and he has the right to defend himself. This is not the first time Carroll lied about the case. It's also clear that she lied about who was funding her lawsuit. E. Jean Carroll originally said no one was funding her lawsuit against Trump. Later, her attorney admitted that billionaire never-Trumper Reid Hoffman was funding Carroll's lawsuit. The alleged rape took place a long time ago, decades ago. Carroll cannot even remember the year it took place. She can't remember the year it took place, but swears she's not had sex ever since. If I had not had sex since a certain point in time, I think I could get the year right, whether I'd been raped or not. And then they've got the video, which we're not going to watch. But then we have another thing on E. Jean. Oh, she wears me out. Is it this one? Yes. Okay, hang on. Let me get over here. Hey, Case. Oh, guys, did I forget to tell you? We're expecting another grandbaby. I got a call from my daughter and son-in-law 2 nights ago. Was it 2 nights ago? Maybe it was last night. I can't remember. maybe it was last night, letting us know that they're expecting baby number 3. So be in prayer for Laura and Jake, that they would have a safe, healthy pregnancy and healthy baby. We had some complications with the last one. Her lung collapsed on delivery and she almost ended up on the ventilator. And so we want a good, safe delivery with this one. Hopefully, maybe they'll take this one a little earlier before it's so big. But she's due at the end of July. So yay. Yes, she is psychotic, and there's more. Do you have a friendly Super Bowl prediction? I don't even know who's playing. Sorry. If you tell me who's playing, I'll make a guess. If Detroit is still in it, I'd like to see Detroit win because I'm from Michigan and they never win anything. I mean, mostly because they suck, so they deserve not to win. But they're good now, so I would really like to see them win it if they're still in. Do Not Mind Me says she took her story straight out of Law and Order. You know where I'm going with this. Her lawyer is responsible for pushing the legislation expanding the statute of limitations. Right. This had already passed the statute of limitations, and her lawyer and, who's the Trump staffer whose husband is also involved in this? McEnany, is that right? Kayleigh McEnany's husband? Hold on, let me make sure I got the rest of the comments. I'm going to show you that. Reid Hoffman, a Democrat billionaire supporter, urged her to sue. Right, and they had the law changed so she could sue. So the statute of limitations wouldn't be applied. Sounds like Amber Heard and her bruise kit wasn't even been made when she said she used it. She plagiarized both Law and Order SVU and Monica Lewinsky. She's a complete joke. Yet a jury of her peers somehow sided. Well, yeah. Well, that jury, where was that case held? Is that Washington, New York? Our legal system is an absolute joke. I agree. I pray I don't get in any trouble for anything. Oh, thank you for the congratulations on the baby. This will be our 6th grandbaby. Detroit is still alive, playing San Francisco this weekend. Okay, well, I have to go with Detroit just out of loyalty. Hometown loyalty, says Detroit. I hope I can watch it. Yeah, you can watch that one. I'll have to watch it. It's awesome to listen to you say out loud what I am thinking when I read. We're all so much of the same mind. You know, I love that we're all kind of on the same page. Okay, so here's the next one. And it's that Law and Order that you guys talked about. I'm going to show it to you in case there's people here who have not yet seen this. Let me make sure you can see. Yep. All right, let me expand that a little bit so it's easier for you. All right. Can you still see? Yes. Okay. It's a little blurry because it's an old Law and Order episode, but listen to this.
In a public place.
Yes, there was one, a bit plain, and it was not her fantasy, it was mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Role play took place in the dressing room of Bergdorf's. While she was trying on lingerie, I would burst in.
Hold on. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
When did you and she have your date?
6 weeks ago, maybe. She wrote
In a public place.
So yeah, there you go. She has admitted to being a huge Law and Order fan, and then we have this whole video that comes up of exactly what she said happened. I feel like our light's really dim in here. Exactly what she said happened is now on a Law and Order episode, and that's a show that she follows and says she likes. Just total coincidence, though. And the jacket not being made in 1994. I mean, there we go. Let's get some more light in here. The jacket not being made in 1994. I mean, you know, she must have just got the dates wrong. You know, she says she's been raped 9 times. As somebody who's been raped once, I find that hard to believe. Like, had it been, sorry, I forgot to turn the volume down. Had it been by the same person, yeah, I could totally buy that. But I mean, were these 9 times after she became celibate? When were all these rapes? Why isn't she bringing charges against the other 8 men who raped her? Why is it just Donald Trump? She's just absolutely crazy. Plus, a high-end place like that would have someone ready to help Trump within seconds. Exactly. I mean, supposedly they meant to strangers on the street, and germaphobe Donald Trump said, hey, let's go buy some lingerie. When I get her up there, I'm going to rape her, and I'm going to do not so good things with my finger digits that I'm a germaphobe about. I'm going to take a total like Donald Trump couldn't get, supermodels. She's insane. Yeah, the CEO of, that's Reid Hoffman, is the CEO of LinkedIn, and he's problematic in many ways. I think he's also funding, or maybe I think he just pulled out of funding Nikki Haley's campaign. All right, let me see where we're at now. I'm guessing you guys heard about the whole Kari Lake thing. I don't know if I pulled anything on that one. Let me come back here to you. So if you didn't hear the Kari Lake thing that came out, I didn't pull an article on it, but for the Kari Lake thing, what's the guy's name? I can't remember. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Kari Lake bribe. The Arizona GOP, Jeff DeWitt. So Jeff DeWitt goes, if you've not heard the tape, I don't know let me see if I can find it here. If they've got the recording. No, I'll just read this to you. Audio appears to reveal Arizona's GOP chairman bribing Kari Lake into staying out of politics. Lake quickly called for him to resign, and on Wednesday he did. The day the audio tape came out, he resigned. He also claimed that Lake threatened to release more damaging audio, which her campaign denies. So what if she did? Don't do damaging things and you won't have to worry about damaging audio. The chairman of the Arizona Republican Party resigned on Wednesday, alleging the GOP Senate candidate Kari Lake all but forced him into doing so. I love how he cannot accept any personal responsibility for this. On Tuesday, hold on. Sorry to show you my armpit there. On Tuesday, the Daily Mail published a 10-minute audio recording. Let's see if we can find that. Here we go. I want you guys to see this. Hi, Steve. What the? Hold on. Everything's falling apart. Don't save. Just stop. All right. I totally lost my live stream. There it is. Okay. Hi, Steve. Audio recording. Is that it? That's it. Share. All right. Make sure you can see. Steve, stop. Okay, yeah, you can see. We might have to sit through a commercial.
I'm Katina Burton, and this is Morgan Roberts. The first person that took me under her wing and shared her experience, strength, and hope with me.
So what's going on? What is? I'm assuming this is our friend.
This is back east. There are very powerful people that want to keep you out.
I know they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So, this conversation never happened.
This is crazy, though. They should want me. I'm a great candidate. People love me. These people are corrupt.
Well, maybe you're right.
They are right. They are corrupt.
Maybe. This never happened. Don't go. Do me a favor, though. I'll get myself in trouble. This, if you say no, which is fine, it's your choice. Don't tell people.
They're gonna try to have me murdered.
I wouldn't doubt that either. Today's world, man. If that stuff that came out last week is right about the cartel stuff, man. They said the cartel's operating in 50 states right now, like all 50. You know?
This happened several months ago. It just now came out.
What's going on? Who is it? What?
Forget the who. Let me just tell you the what. Let's just say there are people calling around saying, gosh, no, they can't repeat this. Never repeat this. If you say no, don't. If you say, I got offered to buy out. Don't use it. Because then we lose our ability to get things done in the future.
Here's my problem. Rather than just say, let's work with her. She's a great candidate. because they don't own me. And it pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't know it's about ownership.
This guy.
It's about
such
control.
a worm.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's about control. I don't know if it's about ownership.
It's about.
What's it about then?
I guess that's, you know what I mean?
They want to be on the team.
Being on the team.
They want you to be on their team.
But
Just team. You know?
But if they're pushing a globalist agenda, I can't do that. So what do they want? What do they want me to do?
You want to stay opportunist. But I'll tell you what I can offer you. But I said you can do whatever you want. It's a talking head, this and that. So the ask of me was, it's kind of funny. So the ask I got today from back east was, it has to stay between us. Is there any companies out there or something that could just put her on the payroll and give her to keep her out? And I said,
Jeez, what a
well,
worm.
what do you want to do? Like, whatever we need to do.
This is about defeating Trump. And I think that's a bad, bad thing for our country. DeSantis is not America first. This is about the final death blow to Trump. And I don't think that's good for our country.
And you know I love Trump. I love Trump.
It's not good for our country, Jeff.
It's not, but at the same time,
It's not. It's not good for the country. He admits it.
I'm not even sure Trump can win again. I don't know that he can win again. I think what it really comes down to for a lot of people, it's not really about like control or agenda. It's just about the ability to raise money to win. You know, if you really want to know, all of politics boils down to money. I think that was really good. And even on their end, like what makes them the most money?
I know. All these consultants don't want their payday to end.
I've not listened to
I don't
this
want
whole
to make a deal
thing.
with these kind of people. This is a hill worth dying on. I'm not. If they're going to steal the election to make me and our movement go away, I'm not letting them do that. I owe it to the people of
How many
Arizona
people do you think they do this
to
to?
carry their torch and their voice?
Or you don't go away,
You don't go away,
but you
but you
pause.
pause.
This is the battles right now, Jeff.
You pause and refill your coffers.
It's just a pause.
No, the battle is right now. The battle is right now, and we don't have time to pause on this battlefield.
You're not. You can't scratch their back. It's not afraid of you.
Yeah.
You don't have anything to offer them. And they're sitting around people that have stuff to offer them. You know what I mean? It's just it's a back scratching club. That's all DC is. It's a big back scratching club. You're in no position to scratch anybody's back, and you've already made it known that if you get there, you're not going to scratch anybody's back. I don't scratch people's back. You know,
I don't scratch people's back. I'm here bringing you an offer from people out east
Where are we in 2 years?
to sit out, but I don't
If they
scratch.
steal the election again.
Listen to what you're saying. Why don't we do something about it so that we the people can pick our...
What can we do?
I'm not willing to accept that.
How about
Then I'm
not
going to be
accept
the
a bribe?
biggest pain in these people's... Go back and tell them that. I'm running, and I'm going to be the biggest pain in their...
You tell them.
I mean, I'm willing to tell them that.
And they're going to have to kill me to stop me.
No, I know. Look,
You don't have to tell them that. But
She's
I
got
don't think
balls
they will,
way
but-
bigger than his.
Nah, I don't think that's the way they are.
Either they come around and try to work with me, or I'm
What
just
would that
going to...
entail?
That would entail not
All of
telling...
them-
Layman's telling me, you got to distance yourself from Trump. No, you distance yourself from DeSantis.
He's all butthurt about that.
But what I'm saying is, don't tell people that. I'm with Trump, okay? I want to work for
I
the
love
betterment of Arizona. I'm not going to let these people back in D.C. tell me not to run.
I'm telling you that's what
I'm not going to pause for 2 years. The battle is now. I'm offended by whoever these people are that they're trying
Yes.
to buy me out of.
Well, you should be honored.
You should be honored.
I'm offended that
being
there's
bribed.
people back there who just don't get about our country.
Do you understand though? You should be honored. That means they know how powerful you are.
Well,
How
I can tell
warped
them
is
If
that.
you
this
weren't
guy?
powerful, they wouldn't want to have this conversation,
Yeah.
right? You should be. Very few people get this.
I know. I'm pissed that they don't care more about our country. It's all about the mighty
You should
dollar.
be
to them.
honored.
And that's
They're trying to
offensive.
bribe
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
They want to get Trump so bad. They want him out
It's
so
not about
bad.
Trump. This isn't about Trump. It's about you. It's not about Trump. It's about you. It's not about Trump. Some people that are in on this, I know.
Listen, I can win. Why don't you go back and tell them that I can win, and why don't they get behind me?
I see these things.
What a
through
leader.
different lenses.
Get behind me.
It's very personal to you. This was you. This was your name on the ballot. And I get that. And it's a very personal thing.
Well, I have a appointment coming up, and I have to work on my book.
Yeah.
So she basically tells him to go jump off. But so I think this happened in October. Oh, it says this content is being shared. Yes. I think this happened in October, and she was just telling the story. She wasn't going to tell the name. She was holding on to it for her own protection. And then somebody figured it out and leaked the name. And so then she went ahead and let the tape out. And I think there's more tape than that. Yeah, DeWitt, he resigned. He better be careful. I wouldn't want to even start my car if I was him. He said that at one point. Love the cat. He's awful. Everyone in politics. Yeah, the system needs to be cleaned out completely. A few former Dems have said they were told they have to vote along party lines or else they will be primaried or redistricted. Well, it's funny because did you guys catch the O'Keefe part 1 that just came out where he's talking to a congressional staffer and the staffer, sorry, Steve moved that. It's right in my face. The staffer, basically, this light's driving me nuts. The staffer basically is validating that people are told how to vote. They're given a piece of paper called a suggestion. That's not a suggestion. You have to vote that way. And was talking about getting leverage on people through these cocaine parties and all this other stuff. Jenny says, we actually left in Arizona 2022. It's a sinking ship. Love Carrie Lake, but she's up against a lot there. So much corruption. We are safe in Northwest Florida for now and just pray daily it stays that way. Yeah, we're in Kentucky. We have a Democrat governor that I don't like because of how he handled COVID. And I'd really hoped that Daniel Cameron would win, but that did not happen. The whole reason there was no red wave was because these people back east didn't fund America first. Right. Well, and you've got Ronna McDaniel, who is worthless as tits on a boar hog, that will not fund these America First candidates. And what does she do? I have no idea what Ronna McDaniels does. Yes, you're right. The whole system is it's a disaster. I heard a year ago she's been talking about it. Yeah, she just hadn't released that tape until now. But good for her. And that's the best thing to do to keep yourself safe. Like when I was deep in the COVID stuff and was getting a lot of attention on Facebook. Thousands and thousands and thousands. News media was picking up my story. They weren't reaching out to me. They were just picking it up from Facebook and running with it. And when I got those 2 death threats, the first thing I did was tell everybody. I'm like, I got a death threat. A guy threatened to chain me behind his truck and drag me till I was dead. And the other one was just a basic, be careful or you might get shot. And they were anonymous and bullshit, I'm sure. But I came right out with it because I was like, if anything happens to me, people are going to know how to track this down. And I actually turned those over to Facebook. And Facebook said, sorry, I've got that turned up so loud. Facebook said that that did not constitute any violation of their terms of service. Look, what would it take exactly to violate your terms of service then? Okay, so now we've just got some silly little news left. Is this one? Oh, the impeachment of Fani Willis. Let's look at this one. I think it's that one. The chairwoman of the At Freedom Caucus Georgia State Rep, Charlize Byrd, has officially introduced H.R. 872, Articles of Impeachment against Fani Willis, same day that the Georgia Senate forms a special committee to investigate her corruption. So here's the letter. Atlanta, January 26, 2024, State Rep. Charlize Byrd, a 6-term incumbent from Cherokee County, today introduced H.R. 872 to impeach Fulton County District Attorney Fani Fannie Willis, claiming she has used her office not to pursue justice, but for political gain. Willis is known for pursuing a high-profile indictment against President Donald Trump and 18 others for their constitutional right to question the integrity of the 2020 election count in Fulton County and elsewhere in Georgia. And what we've seen is she's pretty much dropping all of those cases against the co-defendants, giving them plea deals for next to nothing. Willis also has come under scrutiny for possible conflict of interest in hiring a potential paramour in the case against Trump. In addition, a judge barred Willis from investigating Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones when he was campaigning for lieutenant governor, as she was a financial supporter of his opponent. Fannie Willis has a laundry list of potential conflicts that make her unworthy and unfit to be the district attorney in Fulton County, said Byrd. Someone elected to that office is expected to uphold the law and not weaponize their office for political gain. Since day one, when she was elected, Fannie Willis has embarrassed the criminal justice system in Fulton County in our state. And there was some kind of meeting in Fulton County recently, and the public was there, and they were going for blood. Man, they'd had it with Fannie Willis. Byrd said she was particularly upset that Willis decided to indict Republicans who used their First Amendment rights to question the results of an election, something other Democrats have done in the past when they lost important races, such as Al Gore in 2000, Hillary Clinton in 2016, and Stacey Abrams in 2018. In those cases, neither their supporters were indicted or taken to court for efforts to question an election. The First Amendment is still the bedrock of this country, and Fannie Willis can't overturn it because she has Trump derangement syndrome, Byrd said. It's time our state lawmakers draw a line in the sand and put an end to her refusal to uphold the Constitution. Byrd said other conflicts bar Willis from staying in office. In Georgia, it's unlawful for someone to take office if they owe money to the state. Willis was sworn into office while still owing money to the Georgia Elections Commission, a violation of state law. The people demand we do our job as public officials. When the rights of Americans are grossly violated and we stand by doing nothing, we set precedent that public officials need not concern themselves with the rights of the citizenry, Byrd said. Amen. This is not a precedent I can live with setting. The time to act is now, and I encourage all my colleagues in the General Assembly to join me and impeach Fannie Willis. I agree. Get it done. I think that's all I've got on her. Yes. Okay, so next we're just going to watch this funny video. This trans person makes a bad decision and gets physical with this cop. I don't know where this is, but the guy in heels hits the cop, and I'll let you decide whether it was warranted or not. Make sure we're good on comments. Yes, it says one, but I can't find it. There it is. MilitaryAccountability.com, vaccine injury of our vets. Hey guys, Fun has posted, sign the petition, MilitaryAccountability.com, vaccine injury of our vets. I've not looked at that, but if you want to look at that, the link is in the chat. I hate this light. Turn it down. Oy. That's better. It was burning a hole in my retinas. Okay, this one is... Where is it? That's it. Okay, let me make sure you can see it. Yep, you can see it. Okay, here we go. I didn't see the hit coming because he didn't look like he was worked up or anything. I mean, he just walks over and nails her, him, whatever. Oh, jeez. Knocked his wig off. That's a little bit of FAFO, right? Good Lord. I think that was probably a little over the top. What do you guys think? Because really all he did was knock a pen out of the guy's hand. But, it's obviously another country. They're speaking, it sounds like Ukrainian or Russian or something like that. Hey there, Tennessee woman. How are you, honey? Blessing Star. Hi, honey. Yeah, I think, you know what? Don't, John Brooks. Oh my gosh. I wonder if that's my father, John Brooks. I hope so. If that is my dad. Hello, Dad. Love my dad. And if you're not my dad, I'm sure you're wonderful too. Are you my father? You going to tune into Salty's Live tonight? I will, since I'm done early. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Denise. Denise makes a good point. I don't know what was said. Generally, though, you can be pretty abrasive to a cop and they won't smack you in the face. But that's in this country. I don't know. The rules are different in other countries. Don't mess around. It's like Brittany Griner, whatever her name was, taking weed into Russia. She knew better. Don't do that. I'm doing well. I'm on early because I have a kidney stone that is getting ready to drop. I went to the urologist today and he's like, you've got one that's getting ready. Oh, it is my dad. Hi, Dad. Dad, did you hear the big exciting news yesterday? Have you talked to Laura? Sorry about the light, guys. It's terrible. It's a weird time of day to try to do a show. You have to give me a yes or no, Dad. Did Laura and Jake call you the other night? Okay, so the next one we've got is Crook County mailbox nudist prompts lawmaker to draft genitals and intimidation bill. Hold on, let me open this one for you. It's too funny. Genital intimidation bill. Don't be intimidating me with your genitals, people. I'm not having it. Representative Chip Nyman has drafted legislation that would make it illegal to intimidate others with their genitals. Do you hear that, Donald? What? They're going to make it illegal to intimidate somebody with your genitals. Okay. Not yours specifically, just anyone's genitals. The bill is in response to a nudist who, when asked to put on clothes at a public mailbox center, responded by bending over and spreading his buttocks. Sometimes it's not obvious a law is needed until a situation presents itself, outlining a glaring hole. Kudos to whoever wrote this. That's exactly what happened in rural Crook County, where a nudist refuses to wear clothing in public when picking up his mail at a rural mailbox center. On one occasion, when asked to put on clothes, the man responded by bending over and spreading his buttocks, said House Majority Floor Leader, State Representative Chip Nyman, Republican. It was full-on intimidation, Nyman said of the nudist response. He's using his nudity to intimidate his neighbors. Nyman said the man also has a spouse who practices nudity, a lifestyle he said he has no problem with, as long as it happens on their private property. Although Wyoming law addresses public indecency, it only extends to the exposure of people's private parts with an intent of arousing sexual desire for themselves or another person. There's nothing in the books about if that exposure is for the purpose of intimidation or harassment. How did we miss that? Because we didn't think that people would get naked and try to intimidate others with their genitals. It's the world we live in now. Our founding fathers could not foresee this. God love them. That's what prompted Neiman to propose legislation to make flashing or the exposing of oneself to intimidate others illegal, something he considers equally gross and foul. Come on, people. Let's act like grown-ups, can we? I've never even seen a child behave that way. House Bill 51 would make an act like that by the Crook County nudist a prosecutable offense if it can be proven the exposure was an intent to intimidate or harass. I don't know how you prove intent. Like, did you bend over and spread your buttocks and glare your butthole at me to intimidate me or harass me? I think it's harassing that you were just naked to begin with in public. I mean, aren't there rules about public nudity? Nyman said Crook County Attorney Joseph Barron supports the proposed legislation. He's probably tired of seeing that guy's butthole too, as it would provide clarification to current law and more of a legal leg for prosecutors to stand on to bring charges for incidents like what happened with the nudist. It should just give a better definition of trying to intimidate someone in that way, that it would provide protection for the person that's being intimidated. Many Wyoming municipalities have stricter public indecency laws than what's in place at the state level. Last August, Cheyenne police charged a woman with public indecency after she had been reported walking naked in a busy commercial area. Authorities found her looking in a dumpster while wearing nothing but a blanket. Well, at least she had a blanket on. And she didn't show anybody her butthole. But in 2016, the Cheyenne City Council voted to remove an 1874 law that prohibited the wearing of indecent attire in public. Nyman's bill is geared toward rural areas outside of incorporated jurisdiction. He mentioned how children are often sent to get their family's mail at the rural mailbox location in Crook County. Nyman worries that if left unchecked, children may be exposed to the nudist male body parts. Yes, that's disgusting. Put your junk away, you moron. I would really hate to have my grandkids or somebody else's grandkids go to pick up their mail and just see that, he said. In the upcoming budget session, any non-budget bill requires a 2/3 vote for approval. Surely they can get this approved. Nyman admits his bill is prompted by a highly localized issue that rarely comes up. If it were up to him, he said, there would be no non-budgetary bills discussed during a budget session. But since that's not the case, he believes some consideration should be given to the people who have to engage with the Crook County nudist. It matters to them, he said. Those are the folks that I have to try to reflect their needs and wants. Thank you very much. You got a problem going on in your county. It's not time for that sort of legislation, but you bring the legislation anyway because that's what your people need. And I think that that's awesome. What is this? Stop. Back to main. I said continue without supporting us. How about that? Okay. The next article we have is on Alyssa Milano. I know she's your all's favorite. Oh, Dad says no. Well, I thought they were pushing people to that point. Indecent exposure. Oh, how I needed those laughs, Penny. Thank you. They call it the starfish. You freaks. Do not mind me, says Devil's Advocate. Do we really need this law? Do high schoolers flashing passing cars become felons? I don't know. I don't want to see any high schoolers' butthole either. But I assume that's already against the law. But yeah, I think just for that one person, we need that law because that person has no sense. And sadly, it's like Beverly Hills Cop. Remember when Eddie Murphy goes to to Hugh Hefner's place and says he's there to clean the pool because somebody pooped in the pool? And he's like, all right, everybody out, everybody out. Somebody done ruined it for everybody. Somebody pooped in the pool. I love him. And yeah, one guy, he couldn't just be naked. I think if he'd just been naked, maybe it wouldn't have come up. The fact that he bent over and spread his cheeks was what really pushed this legislator over the edge. And I would have done something like put my foot there. Of course, then he would have said I assaulted him. And I'm like, but you showed me your butthole. I don't know. Dad, you should call Laura and Jake. We are expecting another baby. Yay. Yay. So excited about that. All right, next one is Alyssa Milano. I know. Could I take up your time with less important people? No, I could not. Here we go. Alyssa Milano blasted for launching fundraiser for son's baseball trip. She's Lost Her Mind by Francesca Baccardi. The fans aren't charmed. Alyssa Milano is being dragged by her social media followers. There's so many reasons to drag Alyssa Milano. For launching a GoFundMe to benefit her 12-year-old son Milo's baseball team. My son's baseball team is raising money for their Cooperstown trip, she tweeted Thursday. Any amount would be so greatly appreciated. The fundraiser has a goal of $10,000. What kind of trip is this? And already has raised more than $7,600 at the time of publishing. Given that she's a famous actress, netizens felt the Castle Star 51 shouldn't be using people for money to fund the Birds 12U team. Why isn't Alyssa Milano paying for the trip for the whole team herself, tweeted one user. Why is she asking for money from people who can barely buy groceries? There's her son's baseball team. Another asked, Alyssa Milano has absolutely lost her mind. How out of touch and tone deaf can one person possibly be? One person pointed out that in addition to Milano's success, her husband, David Bugliari, is a powerhouse at entertainment agency CAA. Just a reminder, Alyssa Milano and her husband are both multimillionaires, an ex-user wrote. They could pay for the entire trip for the whole team without batting an eye. One critic even went as far as to donate $5 to the fundraiser and wrote, "Doesn't Alyssa have enough money already?" A rep for Milano didn't immediately return Page Six's request for comment. Oddly enough, it doesn't appear that Wise Gal actress has donated unless she gave money under an anonymous label. While she had plenty of critics, Milano also had some supporters who were happy to donate to her cause. Made a small but heartfelt contribution, commented one follower. Sounds like a great experience for them. This is awesome. You've done so much for so many. What has Alyssa Milano done for anybody? I mean, short of acting, is she involved in some great philanthropic work that I'm unaware of? Let me know. I mean, maybe there's credit due her that I have not given. Hold on. Oh my gosh, this chat is crazy hard to read. Blessings like it. Starfish. Hold on, I'm sorting through your comments here. John Brooks says, wow. July 25th, Dad. July 25th. I thought they were done. They said they were done. They lied. They lied. There's another baby. All right, next article. Let's talk about Michelle Obama. Why not, right? This guy actually did a really good article on her. I enjoyed it. Hold on. Let me share it with you. James Howard Kunstler. What an unfortunate last name. Michelle Mabel. What a train wreck it is for the Democrats. What an unholy mess. It's an unmitigated... this guy's just a good writer. I just wanted to read this because he's a good writer. It is an unmitigated disaster, the sinking of the Titanic multiplied by that plane crash where the soccer players ate each other. Jeff Childers on the Fannie Willis case. I may just subscribe to this guy. As Donald Trump consolidates his election mojo, defying the forces arrayed to destroy him, and more of the country turns against the creepy apparition in the White House, purportedly running against him, you hear ever more chatter that a panicked Democratic Party will insert Michelle Obama in a last-minute convention switcheroo next August. The explications I hear in the chat media all sound lame one way or another. For starters, how pathetically weak is the party that such a walking fiasco as Joe Biden is allowed to even pretend that he can run this race? His campaign is an obvious sham, a placeholder, in hopes that one or another of the half-assed lawfare court cases against Mr. Trump might knock him off the game board. And that's not looking so great now since Fulton County DA Fannie Willis screwed the pooch in her giant RICO action, and special counsel Jack Smith is getting smacked around week after week on esoteric points of procedure. Well, all right. Considering the party has really got no one else, Gavin Newsom is a California train wreck despite the fabulous teeth and hair. Oprah can't seem to make up her mind, and Taylor Swift will not be old enough to qualify for the office until December. The leading plan for the Dems goes like this. JB is offered a deal, step aside for Michelle to run in August. JB can make whatever face-saving excuses necessary, health, low energy, whatever, but he can serve out his term to the bitter end, and then sometime before noon, January 20th, 2025, he can pardon himself, son Hunter, brothers Jim and Frank, and a few other family members implicated in money laundering all the bribes they scared up over the years. That is assuming Joe Biden does not get impeached before August, in which case he might not be convicted in a Democrat majority Senate trial. But the mainstream media could not ignore the proceeding, and the public, including the wokest woke partisans, would finally see the voluminous bank records authenticating the Biden family bribery operation, the proof they have been forever and snidely calling for. Bad optics for the party. A late August kickoff for Michelle Obama would minimize her public exposure until really the last 2 months of the race. She reportedly hates being on display. In theory, the vast electorate of suburban Democratic women across the land would bury the MAGA vote and enjoy months of orgasm awaiting the installation of a black first female president, their final blow against the odious patriarchy of white supremacist rapists. And best of all, under President Michelle, the blob could continue all its clandestine blobulations without fear of payback, assuring that our democracy will be defended by any means necessary, including the suppression and persecution of anyone who complains about it. Now that's a plan. Except for one thing. None of the people chattering about this, James Rickards, Dan Bongino, have mentioned that the Michelle plan actually represents a fourth term for Barack Obama. I mean, really, do you suppose that Barack will spend the next 4 years upstairs in the White House residence with an apron on, baking red velvet cakes and sweet potato pies, while Michelle presides in the Situation Room, directing drone strikes against various people of the Quran? In the immortal words of Homie D. Clown, I don't think so. And what if the opposition, say Trump or Vivek or Tulsi or Tom Massey or Rand Paul or a dozen others in that camp, make the case that Joe Biden regime was actually Mr. Obama's third term, and look what a mess he managed to make of the USA while running the puppet show from his Kalorama redoubt? 9 million illegal aliens ushered into the country with lavish benefits, phones, loaded debit cards, free 4-star hotel rooms, the years-long assault of the drag queens and oral sex instructions for third graders, the preposterous war in Ukraine engineered by neocon cat spas for the benefit of Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, and the rest of the arms makers, big cities full of homeless encampments and their noxious excretions, fentanyl killing 1,500 Americans a week, an extravaganza of flash mob looting, shoplifting, and carjacking, the $1 trillion+ in annual interest payments on the national debt. Not a pretty picture. So it comes down to, do you want another 4 years of that? And how did America end up under the thumb of an Obama dynasty anyway? I'll tell you how. Because the Democrat Party has become a criminal operation now solely dedicated to keeping its dignitaries, office holders, and their factotums in the executive agencies out of prison for a range of crimes so vast that all the lawfare specialists ever spawned in the hatcheries of Yale and Harvard would not run out of billable hours defending them in court before the sun turned into a red dwarf. The mighty effort consumes all the party's energies these days when they are not attending to the destruction of Western civilization. The Michelle Gambit would only be the party's final hoax. After that, the deluge. And this is from the website's called Kunstler, Kunstler, again, a very unfortunate name, .com. But anyway, that was just some good writing there. I liked that. Next we got a little bit on Nikki Haley, and then we're done. Good grief, that went quick. Hold on, comments. Oh, my granddaughter is cheering at my 4-year-old granddaughter is cheering at a basketball game tonight. I'm going to be getting pictures of that soon. Graduation on 6, listening but near phone. Oh, hi, Mount Claim. If I get this stupid thing to slide down. She's dem TDS wackadoodle, Big Mike. Big Mike, now that's some starfish action, you guys. I fear the powers that be are going to place her like they placed Biden. Got to go. Love your show. Love you, Dad. That's my dad, guys. I think that's the first time he's ever watched a show. Well, that he's told me. He could be an avid fan and I have no idea. You don't know. You don't know. I don't know. All right, here's our last one. I'm definitely going to get you guys out of here in time for Salty. Okay.
Take a look at the numbers. Among Trump voters, 70% of them, according to our exit polls, are registered Republicans. Donald Trump, his support, 27% of his voters are registered undeclareds or independents. 3% were unregistered before today. Look at how that compares with Nikki Haley. It's a complete reversal. It's an alternate universe. Among Haley voters, 70% are registered undeclareds. Only 27% are registered Republicans.
So I know you guys know that, because I know you guys. The thing is if, we've got all these Democrats, undecideds, whatever you want to call them, they made, it's so funny. You have to watch how you say things, because no, 70% of the people that voted for her were not registered Democrats, because registered Democrats couldn't vote. However, if you were a registered independent who votes Democrat, you could vote for her. And that's what happened. And when they asked those folks about who they would vote for in the general between Biden and Haley, they said Biden. So for all these people who are behind Haley, I hope you realize that the people that are voting for her in the primary have no intention of voting for her in the general. And you're going to lose the election that way, and you're going to end up with more Biden. So come on, wake up, shake off your TDS. If you think Trump's bad, give Haley a shot at it. That will prove to not be a good thing. Well, if I can, this stupid chat. But anyway, that was all I had tonight. I didn't have a big show, a huge time-wise show planned, but I wanted to get together with you. And I know we're early. We may actually, I've been considering going to this earlier time, because a lot of my competition, sorry, that's loud. A lot of my competition, some states, the primaries are partyless and anyone can cross over. Yeah. So Zach, who's Red Pill 78, a lot of my folks are also Zach's folks, because I gained a lot of viewers when I was on Zach's show. And so he doesn't do a Friday show at 5. So that's an opening for me. And if I do Fridays at 7:30, I'm competing with Salty, which is not a good idea. And so I may go to a 4:30 time slot. So just keep that in your mind, that we may go to 4:30, 5 o'clock time slot, just so that folks that watch me that also watch other shows can still watch me and not have to choose. I don't understand how people see what is going on and still vote Democrat. Yeah, none of us, Rashish, understand that. If somebody could explain that to us, I don't either. Generally it's either that they have complete Trump derangement syndrome and they just can't see around it. And they would vote for, if Putin came over and ran, they would vote for him before they would vote for Trump. Or maybe they hate Putin as much as Trump, but you know what I'm saying? There's no way. There's no way. If you held a gun to their head, they would not vote for Trump. And I'm not suggesting anyone do that. But yeah, I don't understand how they can see everything that's going on. But, it's funny because most of our family, not my dad, of course, or mom, but most of our family is left leaning. And in having conversations with them since Christmas, I can see where they don't want Joe Biden. And I can understand where they don't trust Republicans because of all the crap that the rhinos do. I mean, I don't trust them either, and they have serious grudges against Republicans like Mitch McConnell, which I agree with. I think, I think that they would consider voting for a Republican if it weren't Trump. They just don't like Trump. But I think that Trump has got to have his day. He's got to be able to come back through and try to win this thing in a blowout, just to undo everything that was done. I mean, it's all of the election fraud is really starting to come out. It's starting to find its place in court. Hi, Angelia. That's a pretty name. I think that's all starting to show. We're starting to see some of these ballot issues come before the court. There's the one case that I never can remember the name of that I was talking to you guys about, where they're actually taking some of these battleground states, going to court and saying, can we get a judgment from a ruling from a judge that says that the states are required to follow their own election law processes? Because right now they're not following their own processes, and that seems to be just fine. And I'm like, well, why do we even have election laws then, if you can take ballots for a week after? I mean, there are ballots that were counted after deadlines. There are thousands and thousands of mail-in ballots that have no fold in them. It's impossible to have a mail-in ballot that isn't folded. It has to go back in the envelope. It has to be matched up to the envelope, even if you drop it off. When you've got tens of thousands of those being pumped into the system, when you've got more votes than voters, when you've got vote totals going down during the counting, that's not even possible. You can't. Vote totals only go up. That's the only way it goes. There's not a subtraction process. So I'm really hopeful that that case will get through, where they say, yes, states have to follow their own election laws or be held accountable criminally if they're not. So I need to figure out, I cannot remember where I saw that, but it's in several states. Trump is the only one willing to take on the swamp deep state. That was my thing with DeSantis, was that while DeSantis has done a good job in Florida, he doesn't handle there's a word I want to use, but I can't use that word because it's a bad word. He doesn't handle. It's one thing to be a successful governor in a state where the legislators are all Republican. You've got the legislature, and so that makes governing a lot easier, because they're going to pass whatever legislation that you want passed. They're going to write legislation that you're agreeable to. That's not at all what the situation was with Trump. The situation with Trump was an all-out coup, and I don't think that just the little bit of teasing that DeSantis endured over his boots and whatever else, he couldn't handle it. It totally messed him up. And I'm like, there's no way you can handle the filth that goes on in Washington. There's just no way. Not right now. You don't have what it takes to get through that. And he may develop it over time. I don't dislike DeSantis. I think he's been a good governor. But running in that situation and governing in that situation is when everyone is trying to thwart you, take you down, impeach you, make up false allegations against you, try to have you jailed. I mean, there's just not a lot of people who could take that level of lawfare. And I don't think Ron DeSantis could do it. I think Carrie Lake could probably do it. There's just a very few people that I think have a strong enough constitution. I mean, look at just his schedule. I don't think there's any candidate that could match the schedule that Donald Trump is keeping. He's in court, then the next day he's at a campaign stop, then he's in court, then he's at a campaign stop, then he's at a funeral. I couldn't keep up with him. There's absolutely no way I could keep up with him. We travel out of town to go on vacation, and we need a day to recover after. I don't know how he does it. But it is going to take that kind of stamina and determination to turn this thing around. It's just a hot mess. It wasn't that long ago that the Dems complaining that illegal immigration was hurting workers' wages. Well, and it's starting again. They're starting to. I wish that would just go to the next one and not go all the way down. Denise, you lost sound. I got sound here. Yeah, it is no longer Democrats and Republicans. It is. There's a uniparty. That's why I said I have such contempt for both sides. I see what's going on in Congress, and I'm just like, are you kidding me with this? You're all worthless. You're one party. There is no difference between you. There's very few that I think are actually, you've got Jim Jordan, there's just very few. I mean, probably one hand. Johnson, Kennedy, Stefanik's actually impressing me lately. Byron Donalds, Marjorie Taylor Greene does a good job. I don't like her as a person. I see some people getting some things done, but it's such a small group of people, and you can't really get much done with that small of a group. Rashi says, I believe that, Denise. I also believe that God will use Donald Trump in very interesting ways. I agree. Thomas Massey, yes. Thomas Massey, who's the other one from Kentucky? Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, Comer is the other one. But yeah, I like Massey better than, I know a lot of people really like Rand Paul. I'm not crazy about him. I didn't like that his wife, that they kept secret that they invested in remdesivir before it was even through the clinical trials for COVID. They ended up losing money on it, which is good karma, but, or karma getting them anyway. But they were like, oh, well, we didn't think we had to report it because we lost money. And I'm like, why are you investing in something that's still in the clinical trial? Like, what do you know that we don't? And then remdesivir goes on to be the standard of care. I'm actually surprised that they lost money on that. But maybe in the first year or so it did. It may be gaining money now. Most of what I'm seeing people get when they get sick with COVID, if they don't know any better, is Paxlovid, which I am not crazy about. Tennessee woman says, I don't trust any politician, including Trump. I'll vote for him, but I don't trust him. Yeah, I agree. I think the thing is to be a politician requires a person who's an egomaniac. It just does. You can't possibly do that job and not be an egomaniac. And so every president has been. Obama was an egomaniac. So was Bush. All of them. Clinton. They just are. That's the personality skill set needed to do that job. So it makes it hard for me to like them, and it makes it hard for me to trust them. I will forever question Donald Trump's judgment with this vaccine and not coming out now, at least, and saying, look, there are some real concerns here, things that we didn't see initially. We need to really look into this and see what's going on. That's all he really needs to say to redeem himself on the vaccine. Because he was lied to, and he knows nothing medically, and I can prove that to you. When he was in the hospital, they did an MRI in him, and he didn't know what that big round machine, that loud machine was that they put him in. And I'm like, okay, he's believing whatever Fauci tells him because Fauci's medical. Just like if you're not medical and I tell you something, you're likely to believe me because I am medical. But he could fix that. All right, let me get, these comments. Hold on. Trump is the only one willing to take on the swamp. Trump did pick a lot of swampy people, and I think it's very difficult to know who's honest or not because they're swampy. The whole makeup of a swamp creature is that they're hard to identify until you know them, and then you know them. Trump is the only one I trust. So true. We are happy to keep DeSantis here in Florida. We need a salty veteran as president to clean house. I agree. Smart comment, Jenny. Is that it? All right, guys, I think that's it. Oh, there's another one. The best thing about Trump is deep state doesn't want him. That's it. That's the one thing that compels me, that these people don't want him so bad. And the people that are the most crooked are the ones screaming the loudest. And that is what catches my attention. I'm like, wait a minute. Why are the Republicans like Dan Crenshaw, people who are making bank off insider trading in Congress, why are these people also against Trump? Like, I mean, he's not really done anything. These lawsuits are all just ridiculous. If he'd really done something, I could see it, but he hasn't. So then there has to be another threat involved. And that threat is, I'm going to take away your way of life. I'm going to make it where you cannot tread on the American people and profit off of our labors through insider trading. If he would just solve that, I would be happy. It just is repulsive to me what I see them doing. Nobody anymore is going to Congress, or very few are going to Congress as a way to be of service to their fellow man. They're going to get rich and gain influence. And that's disgusting. They should be stopped. Lady Jex, thank you. Best wishes and prayers for you dealing with the kidney stone. Yeah, I talked to the doctor today. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I passed one on Monday. And I'm like, I really don't want to pass the other 6. And he said, we'll get a CT scan on Monday if there's more stones in there, because he's not, he hadn't seen the one that was about to drop off yet. But he's like, if there's more stones in there, we'll do lithotripsy and we'll bust them up. And that way you don't have to worry about passing them. And I just am not a fan of sitting around waiting for a kidney stone to happen. And so we've got the one that's going to probably pass this weekend. And I just wanted to get my podcast out of the way before that happened. But anyway, I'm going to let you go so I can eat supper and spend some time with Mr. Nurse Penny, because we love him. And thank you guys so much for the well wishes on the new baby that's coming. Like I said, please pray for mom and baby, because the delivery last time was really hard and very scary, even for me as a nurse. And we just want things to go super smooth with this little one. And we're just over the moon, just tickled to death about this. Oh, and let me see if she sent me the picture and I'll show it to you. Little Sophie was cheerleading at a basketball game. Oh, look how cute they are. Okay, so Sophie's got her hair up. So this is Atlas and his little sister, Sophie. And these are the two that are going to be big brother and sister. And I suggested names to them like Gertrude, Calvin Klein. They didn't like any of these names. I don't know what's wrong with grandkids today. But yeah, super cute. Hopefully she'll she might be cheering tomorrow. And Eric Cox sent images. Wait, hold on. Let's look at these. So Eric's out in Arizona at the foot of some mountain. Look at how Eric is my nomad friend. Look at that gorgeous picture. Thank you for sending that, Eric. That's pretty. Oh, wow. Babe, we need to go back to Arizona. I love that place. He's ready. Eric is a wonderful photographer. And here's this one. Oh, gosh, that's gorgeous. Look at that. And there's his little rig. See his van? I need to get these uploaded to my computer so you can see him better. But he's got his little solar panels up, and what a gorgeous sky. Eric, I'm so jealous. He is, this was last night's sunset at Pine Valley Mountain. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, guys, let me pray us out. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for getting everybody together and early. I kind of sprung that on him. I just pray that you would bless this earlier time, that we would be able to get lots of views, that folks would push the like button, because we earn a penny every time somebody hits that like button. And I think an angel might get its wings. The Lord would have to confirm that. Lord, he's not answering on that one. But I thank you so much for everybody that's here. I love this family. It just means the world to me that everybody gets together to hang out with me for a couple hours, a couple times a week. And I just pray that you would bless them, bless everybody who supports the show financially or via prayer. That just means the world to me. And I love knowing that I can reach out to you guys if I need prayer, and that you can reach out to me. And I just thank God for that. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Him, Penny? I don't know what that means, Summer. Hi, Summer. Did you just get here, sweetheart, as soon as we're done? Bless her heart. Love that girl. My hair is super cute tonight. Thank you. That's how I usually wear it. I think I just have a light on overhead so you can see that I got a big old bun in there. I believe that, Denise. Hold on. I'm trying to get down here. Hi, Summer. Hey, Kay, you're late, sweetie. You're going to have to go back and rewatch. Thank you for the prayers, guys. Love and blessings to you too. I will see you guys, barring any crazy unforeseen circumstance. Wednesday, we'll be finishing this book. We've only got 2 chapters left. We'll finish those on Wednesday. Then we'll take a week off. We've got Girls Night Out coming the first Saturday of February at 7:30 Eastern. That's a Saturday night, not a Friday, so remember that. And then Friday's shows will probably move to 4:30, just because that's a good stop. Have I seen Ben Shapiro rapping? Hold on, that's worth a look. Ben Shapiro rapping. I'm finding it. Look at this. Let me dump YouTube. YouTube, I'm dumping you. if I dump YouTube, I can play it.